If you want to enslave a soul, all you have to do is convince it that it's just a body. Matter is an impediment that impinges upon consciousness. As far as I'm concerned, it's somewhat of a torture device. Look at it this way. A 3D gimmick reflects to you in the mirror that which hoodwinked earthbound called Joe or Janet. But little do they know, they've actually murdered their soul by their government name, because to become matter is no more than a form of death. You see, bodies and the occupancy thereof is extremely problematic, because bodies are exploitable. Okay? If you want to put a spiritual being in a state of bondage, an atomic world is first required. Here's the definition of the Matrix the way I see it. Get up, go to work, pay your bills, pay your taxes. Shit, shower, shave. Time to be a slave. Overworked and underpaid with a boss that you hate. In order to survive, I must take orders from somebody I don't like. And that, my friends, is the social pattern of the modern world. The human body is a vicious cycle because life comes with a price tag. Most of us take 5 steps forward and 5 steps back. It can be likened to a merry-go-round, where there's circus music playing in the background, and we're all just a bunch of fucking retards running around in circles, repeating aphorisms from the philosophy of misery loves company, such as, life is all about doing things that you don't want to do. It's called being a responsible adult. And the self-congratulatory pats on the back that we give ourselves for being law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. And just living one day at a time. You know what that's called? If you want to define that vicious cycle as I see it, it's very simple. You work your ass off to then pay out the ass. Work your ass off to then pay out the ass. It's like running a marathon. You're exhausted, and right when you think you're about to reach the finish line, as soon as you break the tape, you come to discover that it turns back into the starting point, and you got to do it again and again and again. The definition of slavery is the claim of ownership on somebody else's body, and they make such a claim right from the get-go on principle of being born. Your parents make the claim of ownership on your body. The government makes the claim of ownership on everybody's body. Your teachers and the school system in general made the claim of ownership on your body. And then you grow up, and more times than not, your boss makes the claim of ownership on your body. And if you're a woman and you're being supported by a man, then oftentimes the man makes the claim of ownership on the woman's body. Because, well, this is my house. I fucking pay the bills. I put food on the table. I support you. You're going to do what I fucking say. You're going to have to find somewhere else to live. And that codependency is slavery. That's the same type of codependent slavery that the children are under until they turn 18 years old. And with this dynamic, it's all about a duality when it comes to the Darwin laws of survival of the fittest. It has to do with whether you are at the mercy of somebody else or somebody else is at the mercy of you. Most people suck a good dick to get on top of the corporate ladder because they are at the mercy of all kinds of people. And they want to get up the pecking order. So they suck a good dick, and their goal is to be, I want other people to be at the mercy of me, rather than it being the other way around, so I got to do what I got to do. Here's how the food chain works in this reality when it comes to the eat or be eaten. You've got the one who made the claim of ownership on the body, which is the master. And the subordinate is the slave. One is the order giver, the other is the order follower. And we say, well, obviously it's not slavery because he doesn't have to work here. He can leave any time. It's not always that easy. Or you could say, hey, if you don't like me as your fucking spouse, you can leave any time. Because of the scarcity of this concrete jungle that we occupy, that's not always that easy. And what's second best to your mouth being fed is, of course, the mouth of your children. And if you don't provide, then the wife is going to divorce you and find somebody else who will, at best. At worst, the state is going to come and kidnap your fucking kids. And you're going to be homeless, panhandling, dumpster diving. That is the harsh reality that we live in. We live in a world where people must consent to slavery. And they teach us this. They train us like pets, like animals from the day we're fucking born, that life is about doing what you're told by people you don't like. And you must do what you're told, or else you'll be punished. Your parents will spank your ass, make you put your nose in a corner, take your fucking toys away, ground you, whatever. If you don't listen to your teacher, you're going to get suspended, and then the school's going to rip you a new asshole, and then your parents are going to rip you a new asshole. So you learn positive and negative reinforcement. Do what you're told, do what you're told. So then when you turn 18 and you graduate, it becomes easier to just get into the slave complex of being a yes man. And you're codependent, which is in and of itself a form of slavery. You're codependent on your job for money. And sure, you might be able to find another job, but is it going to pay well? See, that's the thing. It doesn't matter. You could be making a fuck ton of money doing what you do. But at the end of the day, you're still taking orders from somebody you don't like, doing something you don't like. Or you could be like the minimum wage motherfucker at McDonald's says, welcome, how may I poison you today for fucking $10 an hour? With some morbidly obese, fat fucking cunt of a boss breathing down her neck and shitting down her throat. Could always be worse. But it seems like we live in a world where it's always the argument of the lesser of two evils. It's always the argument of lesser of two evils. You know? How I see it, this is a prison planet, and the human race is a fucking slave race. Bodies were made to be enslaved. A meat suit of flesh and bones is mandatory before slavery and evil is even a possibility in the first place. Just look at the animal kingdom and the way it self-cannibalizes itself, with the strong feasting upon the flesh of the weak, organism eating the corpse of organism eating the corpse of organism. When it comes to the food chain of its predator-prey dynamics, it's nothing but fight or flight, where the prey run for their lives and the predators are able to just get away with murder every single day and get off scot-free. How is this for a metaphor? Try to follow my logic here. You have the lamb. We've all heard the word innocent as a lamb. Just the epitome of peace. Just minding its own business, grazing on some grass. Wouldn't hurt a fly. Next thing you know, a pack of wolves go straight for the jugular and just rip it to shreds and eat it alive. They're the evil. The animal kingdom is a metaphor for how the world works. Think as above, so below. Think of their behavior as the correspondent representation that personifies what this inverted realm is. Understand, when we say the king of the jungle, we think of the lion. So when it comes to the law of the jungle, the lion, which is the quote evil, is able to spend his whole life unchallenged, not even so much as a slap on the wrist, and he's just a killer, just one after the other throughout his whole life, just splattered in bloodshed, right? And he's able to get away with it. But what about the poor gazelle that didn't do a goddamn thing? Hey, only the good die young. Nice guys finish last. Sad but true. But don't take it personal. It's just business. Evil wins in the animal kingdom. That gazelle that got eaten alive, leaving behind his mourning family, who too are soon to die, and they are the innocent. They are the victimized, but the victimizer gets to live on and triumph. That metaphorical animal kingdom example totally fucking applies to the human kingdom. Human beings are the ultimate predator, after all. Just look at the very psychopaths that control this planet. They get away with countless murder, countless pedophilia, countless crimes against their own species on a daily basis, without so much as a slap on the wrist. Who's going to be the hero when every cop is a criminal? How is justice going to be brought their way when they're literally the judge, jury, and executioner of the justice system? You see, certainly the militia is not going to allow a single shot to be fired because Trump train 2024, let's go, baby. In the meantime, just buckle up tight and trust the fucking plan. So that's where we're at. But they'll definitely be the one to throw the first punch. That is, when I try to expose their psyop. I tell them it's right on cue. And trusting the plan is all a part of their plan. And it's right on cue for the worst atrocities done by the American government on its own people have ever happened. It's unprecedented, and they need something to keep the Americans with a hopeful heart. I try to tell them this, and then they want to, they get really debatey, and they get argumentative, and I just say, okay, man, I don't dislike them as people. They're not bad people. If you're falling for this psyop, you're not a bad person. You just, like, your heart is in the right place, but unfortunately your mind is in the wrong place. And, you know, hope becomes not so hopeful when it's based in false hope. You think there's going to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but it's a bucket of shit. And you can keep telling yourself, you keep chasing the rainbow, say it's going to be a pot of gold, it's going to be a pot of gold. But don't come crying to me when you find out that it's a big bucket of shit. Yeah, that's all I'm saying, okay? When it comes to this inverted realm as a construct, I have made the demonstrable determination based upon observation and meditation that evil is the majority, good is the minority, and evil is rewarded and good is punished. There is a duality in occultism which refers to higher octaves and lower octaves. The higher octave is the superior sphere of spirituality, while the lower octave is the inferior sphere of spiritual psychopathy, you could say, necrophilia, as opposed to philosophia, which is love of wisdom. So we understand that duality exists. And I would like to present to you two poles and tell me if there is a fair balance of the scales. On one side of the scale, you have stupidity, mental retardation, based in lies, based in psychological warfare, based in being poisoned through all five senses on a daily basis. And over here, we have truth, that which is, based in objectivity. So one is truth and then the other is a lie. How are the scales balanced in this reality? I would say deception hits the fucking ceiling and the truth is crying on the floor. And I would say, without exception, you can apply this meditation upon what wins, the higher octave of superiority or the lower octave of inferiority. And it seems that we live in a reality where that which is inferior is superior. And this is the epitome of inversion and aberration. This is the epitome of why we are living in hell. The God of this world is pluralistic, and that is the lowest vibrations. I'm going to say that one more time. The gods of this world are the lowest vibrations, because ugly faces rule the world. The Messiah of the NPC is the talking head. That is the world in which we live. What wins? What is the people's preference? Love or hatred? Hatred. Ostensibly, humans are very happy and loving, and they're basically good. But they deceive you with their body language and the fact that they walk their dog and kiss their children goodnight. There is a duality within them that makes them appear to be good. However, I can promise you that the devil within their heart bleeds with fucking hatred. And I'll tell you why. When you invite the jab of Bill Gates' prick upon yourself, and you force the same lethal injection upon your children, and treat men and women of consciousness like second-class citizens because we do not want to subject ourselves to biological warfare, you understand that you are dealing with a subhuman scum of the earth that is filled with hatred. This vibration in which they welcome with open arms is a vibration of hatred. It is crimes against humanity, hatred for humanity. And they get on their knees and they suck it to the throat and swallow what it has to give and virtue signal on Facebook and think that their ignorance is superior. Ignorance is not bliss, it is death. And they are you can't even say that they're a being. They're an entity based in hatred. All of the agendas that are at play right now, whether it's 5 mask, means that you're doing your part more so than 2 mask, and oh, look at me, I got a booster shot for the booster shot of my booster shot, because I'm just so much better than everybody else. No. These oxygen deprivation cloths, when all these slaves are all muzzled up and giving me dirty looks because I don't want to, because, hey, I'm never going to take a breath of fresh air for granted ever again. Excuse me for fucking breathing. It is my God-given right. You dirty demon cocksucker motherfucker. You filthy, disgusting animal. You're lower than an animal. Lower than an animal. Show me a pig rolling around in its own shit, and it comes to me versus the average human, and I will, in all honesty, look at the pig and say, you are superior. This morning, my dog was licking its balls and butthole upon jumping on me with muddy paws, and then licked me in the face after cleaning himself in those inappropriate areas. And I pet him on the head and I said, you're a good boy. And I look out into the outside world, and with absolute conviction, I said, you are superior. And I meant it. I was not lying. These demons are filled with hatred. Don't allow their politeness and their smiling faces to fool you. Hatred wins in this reality. Occluding the Holy Spirit while suffocating yourself is based in hatred. what they are allowing to be put into their bloodstream is based in hatred. Their mind control from the cradle to the grave is based in fucking hatred. The food that they eat is based in hatred. They are a hateful, disgusting, decrepit demon that is blasphemy. Here's the catch-22, however. To a demon, that which is pure hatred is the highest form of love. New Age bullshitters who proclaim the only thing that matters is intent, and that it's not the action itself, but it's the vibration behind it that counts. And I say that is the biggest crock of crap that any voice box could utter from the cesspool of their trap. And I'll tell you why. When they are giving themselves these lethal injections, they believe with their intent and the wonderful vibration behind their actions that what they are doing is a heroic humanitarian endeavor that is going to save the planet and make things go back to normal. And we know that the opposite is true. But as far as the vibration of their intent, putting it in action is concerned, they take themselves for good people. However, if we are not subscribing to the philosophical bankruptcy of moral relativism, we know that intent matters not. The ostensible situation matters not. All that matters is the truth behind the fact that their mind is filled with the mind control hatred of their masters, and that their behavior, because it's from an ideology of falsehood that was based in hatred in the first place, can only, by law, breed the same disease and continue to perpetuate hatred. And the demon will think all the while that it is pure love, when I could assure you it is abominable damnation. Abominable damnation, objectively, and that's all that matters. You see, when it comes to a demon, you give them true freedom, and they will take it as chaos. They will take it as a danger. You give them absolute slavery, and they will take that for freedom. They will take hatred for love, slavery for freedom, and the lie for truth. And this world is inverted, and the force of necrophilia, which is the love of death, is more abundant in this reality than people like you and I. And I think that's all I'm going to say for now. If you would like to add me on Facebook, you can do so at Fish Corbett. That is FISHCORBETT.